I think Pinterest is one of the best platforms to go for inspiration. So I want to decorate the cover of this little journal, and I asked you on Instagram which of 2 Pinterest photos I should use as my inspiration. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. I've received many requests to continue with my Pinterest inspired series. You can find that playlist linked below in the description box. So I sent a poll on my Instagram stories asking whether I should use this or this as inspiration for this cover, and this is what you voted. So 169 of you voted for A, which was the dragonfly, and 156 for B, which was the one with the tag. So 52% versus 48% for the dragonfly, which is pretty close. So maybe I will try the other one in another video since so many of you voted for that one as well. So this little journal was made by Allison in the US. I will link Allison's Instagram for you below. She made this journal for me, which is kind of like, I would say, an office type journal, just because of the papers she added. And yeah, it has for me kind of like an office feeling, which I love. I think the only real page I've created so far is this one. I'm actually not sure at the moment if I've done this on video or not. I might have. So if I have, I will link that video for you in the description box as well. Otherwise, I haven't done much in here. A little bit of calligraphy. I think a few numbers here, and that's about it. I always wanted to add something on the cover here, and I think this dragonfly will be great. I've cut this piece of white cardstock to fit my cover, and I will be working on this instead of on the cover directly. So this collage was created by Paper Artsy in 2017, and she wanted to show the effect of dark and light and contrasts within a collage. I will link her post for you below as well, so you can check it out in more detail if you wish. So let's start with the background here. So it looks like she has the Tim Holtz speckled egg color, I would say, which is this one, mixed with, I don't know, some kind of bronze, or maybe it's vintage photo or something like that. And then she has some bricks stenciled over that. So I have this Tim Holtz brick stencil. So I want to start off by adding some gesso here, and then I'll add some of the speckled egg distress oxide. This Pinterest post links to a blog, but in that blog she does not describe how she's made this collage. So I'm just going by this photo, and I will use that. Obviously mine will not look like hers. I don't want it to look exactly like hers. But I love the style, and I love a lot of the elements that are in this photo. So I think in the end you will definitely see that that was my inspiration. So I dried this with my heat gun, which helped it flatten out again. And now I'm going to take my speckled egg, and I think I'm actually just going to drag this over, and then we'll add some water to it to make it move a little bit. Now, I know this is not what she did, because hers looks a lot different. And I actually am now thinking that maybe hers was not the speckled egg, because hers looks a little bit more turquoise than mine does. So maybe she used salvaged patina, or maybe she just used acrylic paint. I mean, that's possible too. So I think I will dry this, and maybe I'll add some salvaged patina then on top of that. So as you can see, this is very light. So I want it to be a bit darker and a bit more turquoise. So I will try my salvaged patina, and I will do the same thing. Okay, so this is a little darker and a little more turquoise now. I could make it even darker, but I think I am happy with this. Most of this is going to be covered up anyway. Next, I'm going to add some Walnut Stain to grunge it up a little bit more. I don't think that's what she used, but that's what I'm going to use. And for this, I'm going to smoosh this on an acrylic plate and add some water. And maybe let that drip down a little bit. And then maybe smoosh it a little bit as well. It's changing the color, of course, because it's mixing with the turquoise. So I'm going to dry this and then we'll see what that looks like. I am quite happy with this grungy background. So the next step then is to add the stenciling of the bricks. I currently don't have a texture paste and my gesso is almost completely dried out, unfortunately. I did manage to thin down some of it with some water, so I think that will hopefully work and hopefully this will be enough. So we need some on the top right and the bottom left. That gesso is still a bit lumpy, but I think it will be okay. So while that's drying, we can work on some of the other elements. We can see in the photo that the dragonfly is stamped on a book page. I have two very sturdy book pages glued together. I think this will be a nice base. And again, she has what looks like white gesso and then this blue or turquoise over it. I'm just going to spread this with my fingers. I put way too much as always. I really want to see the book page underneath, so I'm trying to make this thinner. Hopefully that will be okay once it has dried, or maybe I should add some water. Or no, what am I doing? I'll just use a baby wipe. Hello? Why didn't I think of that earlier? Much better. And then again, I'm going to add some salvaged patina. This might look differently now because the book page is a completely different surface. Okay, so once it's dry, it looks like this, which looks good to me. I have this amazing Dragonfly Stamp. I got this secondhand at a craft flea market a few years ago. This is information if you want to maybe try to find that. Maybe they have it on eBay, I don't know. Made in Germany, Judy Kins. You can imagine how excited I was to find this Dragonfly Stamp. And I'm going to use my Walnut Stain to stamp this, and hopefully I won't mess this up now. To stand up to stamp this. Fingers crossed. Oh yeah, it's okay. It's not perfect, but it's okay. Yes. So now I'm going to tear around it. And now we want to make the edges look a bit more rugged by just bending them, maybe tearing it a little bit in some places, rolling them. And now we can add some Walnut Stain to distress these folded bits. Okay. Maybe it would be a good idea to check with the size of my cover to see if this would fit. This is a bit wide. This is not dry yet, but I just want to check. Yeah, it's too wide. I need to narrow that down a little bit. And maybe on this side too. Whoops, that was too much. Oh well, no problem. It's supposed to look torn and worn, right? We can also see what looks like corrugated cardboard on the top there. So I have a piece here. So let me tear out a smaller piece. This one here is super thick. This is quite difficult to tear. Actually, I will take this top part off because I think actually we only need this top part. And then do you see those cool tears that she has there, which she has obviously stitched? I don't know how well you can see that, but that is super cool. I want to try that as well. So I have my craft knife and I'm going to try to cut some slits in here so that I can stitch them up again. The things we do as junk journalers, that's sometimes a bit crazy, isn't it? So I'll just do 3 of these. Can you see them? Let's try to find an embroidery thread I can use for stitching these. Hers looks like it's a brown. Which one do I like? Maybe I'll take the darker one for more contrast. And I think I'll only take 1 strand. Hers looks like it's super thin. Or maybe we use 2. 1 seems a bit thin. Yeah, I think 2 looks like a good thickness. And I think it will be easier if I poke holes in it first. This is such a cool idea. This might be something that I will carry on into future projects as well. That's what's so cool about these Pinterest inspirations. Something I would have never thought of doing. It's genius. I'm just realizing I like this backside better actually, because it looks more grungy. Her stitches are a lot smaller, I can see. Oh well. And I'm just going to tape down the ends with some regular like Scotch tape. But one thing I'm realizing, and I should have done this before, is I kind of want to make these cuts shown a little better. Like I should have grunged them up first. Trying to do that now, still kind of just taking them apart a little further and then maybe go over it with some Walnut Stain. Definitely would have been better before. Let's add some, and I want to add it just to the edges of those cuts. Okay, definitely looks a bit more grungy now, and I'm also going to distress the edges a bit more. I just love the symbolism of this broken and mended piece here, because I was broken as a person before I started my business and my YouTube. So my soul has actually been patched up just like this paper has been. So I love that. In the meantime, this is dry enough to continue working on it. So we need to distress these as well, and I'm going to use the same Walnut Stain for that. Let's try adding some with this brush, and then I think I will again spritz that. So I'm happy with how that turned out. Everything is beautifully grungy, so I think our background is ready to go. So let's see what it looks like once we add the elements we already have. So we have the dragonfly, which is kind of big, to be honest. And we have this piece here. Maybe let's check what it would look like on my cover. I think this dragonfly might be a bit big for this cover. I should have maybe realized that before, but sometimes you don't see it until you actually have it on your project like this. Luckily, I have another amazing dragonfly stamp, which is this one. You might have seen this before. This is from my Egyptian friend Eman. She had this custom made for me in Cairo. So this is so super special, and I love this one actually more than this one. And since Egypt is a huge part of my life, since my hubby is Egyptian, it's probably better I use this one anyway. So I think I can use the back side of this definitely big enough. So I will just again prepare the background like I did before and then stamp this on it. Gorgeous. And as you saw, I actually spread the Distress Oxide with a wet baby wipe, and that was amazing. I will definitely do that again. So this is really cute. So now I just need to tear it a little closer and then bend up the edges again. Let's try this again, see if this is better. I think the proportion works better with this Dragonfly. This piece here is a bit big, so let's just tear that down a little bit. Then I see some cheesecloth on the bottom right, so let's add some of that. Mine is not as dark as hers, but that is totally fine. Let's just make the shape a little bit less rectangly. In other words, let's fray it a little bit. I could have just said that. Don't know yet how I'm going to glue that down. Then these other pieces that we have there where the button is and on top there, they look more like a burlap, which I have too, but I think I want to darken this up a little bit. Just going to rub that on. Don't think I need to even make it wet. I can just do this dry. Okay, so we want one piece here. Okay, this is too small to tear. Just fray the edges again. So that will go somewhere like that. And then we need a piece up here. I don't know, do I want a shape like that? Maybe, let's just try that. Again, let's make that a bit darker. So that can go like up there. And of course we need a third piece, and if I look closely, I see there's one here. Next, I want to kind of lighten this whole piece up because it seems too dark for me with everything else here. So I will add some gesso. I think I'm going to apply it to most of it, and I'm going to use a wet baby wipe so that it stays thin. Much better, don't you think? I really think this helped a lot. Then let's add a bit more contrast. You see she has this piece there by the button, which is a darker brown, and then also on the bottom, she has this little cluster down there. The third piece, which is a bit darker, is of course her label right there. So I was looking at what darker pieces I could use. Originally, I actually thought I could use this, which is a part of a book spine, which would be amazing to have on a book cover, but I just think it's almost too dark. And I think if I add gesso, it's going to be too light. So I don't think I'll be using these. This here is a piece of a collage I made years ago on a paper bag. I think this is the last piece I have left. I do love that it has the golden yellow in it because that is my favorite color combination, this turquoise blue and the golden yellow. So I would love to have this in here. I also have these pieces here. These are from Susanne from Bornhood Art. She had this in a beautiful booklet she made with papers. So I definitely want a piece of this up here. Okay, I don't want to cover up all of my sewing here, of course. No, there's hardly anything left here. Maybe I can just make a little cluster down here. I like that. But now I'm missing a third yellow piece somewhere because where's my triangle? Maybe I can just do something with the label. I'm going to make a label that says 49 dragonflies that I will have dangling from here. Should we maybe do the button? So it seems like I need to glue these parts down so that I can sew the button through here. And I might as well glue this cluster together as well. So I've just glued these bits here together. So now let's see if we can find a white button that we like for up there. I would like one with 2 holes just because it's easier to sew on. This is too white. That's too big. Not loving that style. This one might work. It's a bit off-white. And we can just tie it off in the back. Next, I want to glue down this cheesecloth so that this can dry in the meantime. So when we look close at this picture, you can see there is a little clothespin which is clamped to a like rusty wire that she has wound around the button somehow, and then she attached her tag on that. Now, I don't have a wire like this. I have a golden wire, but I don't think this would fit here. I do have this little clothespin. I've actually decluttered these already, but I still have the bag at home in which I have my decluttered items. So I can definitely use this. And maybe instead of the wire, I could use a pin. Now, either I can use a big pin like this, like a safety pin, or I could even try it with a bulb pin. And I could just pin either one of those to my burlap here. And on that, we're going to attach the 49 Dragonflies label. Maybe this larger one would be better to attach the clothespin. If I stick it in here and attach the clothespin like that. Not sure I like the clothespin actually at all here. That might be too much. Or I just do the clothespin. I could attach the label maybe just with the clothespin. That might work as well. Maybe I should make the label first and then make that decision. And I just ruined it. Okay, that's a sign. That gives me the answer. Thank you. I'm not using the clothespin. I'm going to stamp on this scrap piece of coffee dyed copy paper. And I'm going to use my 12-digit roller stamp. I thought I could stamp it in 49 dragonflies, but I'm missing 1 digit. I could only do 49 dragonfly, and that's not going to work. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to do my best to stamp this in 2 parts. So I'll start with the 49 and then try to stamp the dragonflies next to it. It's always really hard, and I want mine in black. So the 49 should be quite easy. I'm going to use a ruler so that I can position it the same both times I'm stamping. Yeah, good job, good job. Second try. Okay. I always like to do test stamping first so that I can make sure that the letters line up, because that can be a bit fidgety with this stamp. I have this, by the way, linked down below in case you want to have a look. But it's not for everyone, I think, because it is quite fidgety, really, to line the letters up. Oh, that's fine. I am happy with this. So I'm going to cut around this. Then I'll ink up the edges. And then I could glue it on this scrap that we have left of our book page. That's a nice sturdy background and has the colors that we have in the rest of the collage. And then I can cut around this so it just leaves a frame, and on this side I'm going to leave a bigger piece so I can still put a hole in there. So let's add an eyelet. And then let's distress the edges. So now we need to figure out how to attach this. I'm wondering if I could manage to put this bulb pin around the button. like this. And now we can just put this through here and close the bulb pin. That actually works. But actually I don't like how it stands up like this, you know what I mean? Maybe I need to put something in between. Louisa, I have the same issue that you do with these pins. Okay, so I added a jump ring. That's definitely better. Not sure about this cluster because of the yellow. I have a feeling if I add this, then I need to add another yellow piece somewhere here, which I don't think I want to. So maybe I should add something on top of this instead, and it needs to be something quite dark. Maybe a piece of brown lace. Maybe not that dark. I have a piece of golden shiny scrap. No. What does it need? I kind of do like the yellow. Maybe some yellowish gold splatters would take some of the attention off these two then. That might be an idea. I will glue all of these bits down and then let's see some splatter options. I'm going to try my bronze Van Gogh watercolor 811. I've watered it down a little bit. Actually, I think I want it a little bit thinner. Using a big brush, hopefully to give me some bigger splatters. I've turned the 49 dragonflies around because I don't want any splatters on that. Let's maybe start down here. Oh, wait, let's think about this. Because I don't want them all over, I think. I think I want them in a diagonal. So I'll maybe try them like this. Start down here. It's splattering everywhere except where I want it. I'm gonna thin this a little bit more. So I've quickly dried these. And next I want to distress the edge of this whole plate because that's going to change the look as well. And then we'll see if it needs anything else to finish it up. I've glued on the cover with some PVA glue. So now we have this, and it doesn't seem quite balanced to me. I feel like it needs something else down here, something darker. And I wonder if it would help to just add some Walnut Stain Distress Oxide down here. Let's try that. That might just do the trick. Now I'm thinking maybe I should add some water down here so that it moves a little bit. So this is what it looks like once I've dried it, and I think this helped because now your eye is also pulled down to the bottom here and not just up here. So it makes your eye move around this collage more than it did before. So I think that's good. I'm trying to get over the fact that I don't have another yellow here. I'm just not sure how to add it so that it would work. What if I add some yellow distress stain on top of this? There is a chance I'm going to ruin it now, but I'm going to try it anyway. So this is my Wild Honey Distress Stain Dauber. I'm gently going to daub some here. I'm just afraid it's going to change the color to green or something like that. I also have to be careful not to spray on the Dragonfly because of course that was stamped with the Distress Oxide as well. Oh, I'm scared. To daub some away. It's not quite the yellow I'm looking for. I'm going to add some Winsor & Newton watercolor on top of this kind of golden color. I think that matches this color more. That's definitely that color. So I was not happy with that yellow. So this seems more balanced to me, and it also feels like it's more me. So I am happy with the result of this cover. And if you enjoyed this process, maybe you will also enjoy this Pinterest inspired video as well. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.